Welcome, everyone, to another episode of Challenge Yourself, Obstacles to Opportunities. I am Greg.
And I'm McKenna.
And apparently, I am being more like McKenna today. Let's go! No, we're not ready for this episode yet?
It's not let's go. That's yours.
Oh, sorry, that's me. Well, welcome. If you haven't got to know us yet, you're getting to know us right now. Except, let me get back into my persona. Okay.
No, please, no.
Okay.
Please, no.
What are we talking about today?
I don't know. Why don't you tell me?
One thing that's near and dear to our hearts is coaching, whether it's for us, specifically volleyball, but for anyone, coaching a sport that they are passionate about. I think we have found our passion in volleyball, but usually, hopefully, when you're coaching, and especially young all the way through professional athletes, you're coaching because you're passionate about that sport, right?
Yeah. I couldn't sleep last night, and this is something you don't deal with, but because coaching is ingrained in my blood and in your blood, I take it home with me. I'm constantly thinking about my team. I'm constantly thinking about our daughters. I'm constantly thinking about myself and coaching myself, and while also looking at other coaches that we're surrounded by, whether it's community or on TV. And so I'm constantly reflecting upon myself. What did I do? What could I have done? How can I do it better? And I think that's a huge step in not only coaching, but just living, is constantly reflecting upon what are your goals? What are your values? And you and I have been coaching, I would say, a total of close to, how many years have you been coaching?
26-ish, 27.
Okay, so we're combined close to 50, because this is my 19th season. So our lives have changed. So our values and perspectives have changed. Mm-hmm. Our expectations change, but they have to, because society has changed. The player has changed. So how many times have we said, and I'm just talking about our generations also, when we played,
always,
what we have to understand is that we're dealing with a different athlete. Okay,
so yeah, I'm gonna counterpoint. Is that because the athlete is different? Society obviously has changed, technology has changed, availability of information has changed, so people are more looking for themselves to find answers and not necessarily learning in the same manner. So then on the court, on the field, on the ice, whatever it is, they're maybe not learning in the same manner because I'm dealing with a lot. I know how to do this because I saw a video on it, or this is how I'm training. And so has the athlete itself changed, or is it just a situation that they're in that's changed?
I think the situation for sure has had a huge effect on the athlete.
Okay.
So what they're it's talking about bullying, right? It totally went off subject. But when we were in middle school, I was bullied every day. But when I got to leave and walk out of that junior high, it stayed there. Now it follows you everywhere you go, which is the same thing. Now they're seeing other accolades. They're seeing postings. They're seeing this and that. And they're expecting to receive the same.
Right.
Without putting in the work.
Correct. And that's the difference. We would blood, sweat, and tears put into a practice, a workout, a whatever, because that's what you did.
Yeah.
And now that is...
And it's because, who told you to?
Why do we go so hard?
Who told you to?
Whoever was teaching you.
Exactly. And I think the level of respect for the coach has completely changed.
Parent, adult in general, etc., has changed.
Yes.
Which, yeah, I think that's probably the first component to the discussion of how do we have highs and lows in coaching, is dealing with individuals who are, changing. Mm-hmm. And that depends on the perspective, or depends on the age group you're working with. Are you working with youth that are just getting to know something? Are you working with kind of that middle group of the high school athlete who thinks are getting better at it, the collegiate athlete who should be finely tuning things, all the way up to the professional athlete who is that elite population of a percentage point? And where are they? And then what's the message you're delivering?
And I think as a coach, you have to be always analyzing that message, because every year we have a new batch of team chemistry.
Right.
Some players are still there, but we're bringing in different, which is creating a different unity, which is now expectations are changing, goals are changing, and I think you and I are in a very different position right now in our seasons.
Yes.
I am having a very successful season thus far.
Mm-hmm.
You're not having as successful.
We're not having as successful defined by wins and losses.
Correct. So
But
if you're looking on paper,
yeah.
If you're looking on paper,
statistically, we are not performing at the same level that maybe we're capable of or that we'd like to perform at.
Mm-hmm.
You, on the other side, your wins and loss record is great
Yes.
right now, and we're looking to continue that throughout the season / into postseason. We are looking to make some fixes to hopefully fix the record through. And again, we have a little bit of time. Yeah, I guess you kind of do too as well, because everyone makes postseason.
Mm-hmm.
But if a goal is to win a conference tournament or win a league title, you don't have a lot of time.
No.
And you guys are in a situation where you could, but the pressure's on to perform at that level all the time. So our pressures are different even.
Yep.
Your pressures now are to maintain success defined by wins, losses, along with all the other things that we define successes. My expectations are to try to achieve success in the form of wins and losses through various means and stressing and thinking and trying to, practice planning. And it's changing daily now, when it used to have a pretty smooth routine because things were working. Now it's, well, that's not working. It can't possibly do the same thing over and over again. But
what I'm noticing, and we're going to take the records off the table. We know we're sitting in different positions, but I have a problem. I have many problems. I have high expectations, and I want them to be. I learned very quickly in my first year of varsity coaching that I can't put high expectations, too high expectations. They have to be realistic.
correct.
And I was not being realistic because I was young and dumb. You're looking through different glasses, and you're those rosy glasses and thinking, oh, we should win the league. No, it's not going to happen. You have to do X, Y, and Z. But my expectations are of character, are of work ethic, and has nothing to do with skill. And when we don't hit those, I'm becoming frustrated.
Right.
And because I'm putting them, but then I'm looking at myself as a coach. Am I holding them to those expectations?
Right.
Or am I not doing what I should be doing and making sure they understand? Am I being too lenient? And so as a coach, it's a very difficult thing, as the dog's walking in the door, to understand. I guarantee you she's bringing in her bed too.
She's going to try.
Oh, man. But she just wants to be with us.
She does.
And bring in this
She wants to be
nasty bed.
comfortable.
But, am I getting to a point in my coaching career where I expect, but I'm not coaching anymore? We're so distracted right now by this damn dog.
She's a goofball.
Yeah.
So your expectations aren't meeting your level of, well, you can't have the same expectations because there's not that growth mindset for, well, next year we will.
Because I'm graduating 7 seniors.
Right.
So I have 7
Your
seniors.
expectations change with every class.
Correct. If anyone can see this right now, the doors are kind of shut and the dog cannot get the damn bed through the door right now. But she's working. She is persevering through this, and she did it. She made it through. She is now happy. Her tail is wagging. She is with her parents, and now we are good to go.
She didn't even need her bed in here.
She didn't even need her bed, but it's her security blanket, just like my hat. Security blankets.
Okay.
But coaching, so we are 13-1. We're winning. We're on an 11-game win streak. We have a huge match tonight. But I don't feel like I'm not happy all the time. Like I should be. Like we're winning. Yay. But even when I'm watching them on the court, it's the little things.
Right.
It's the little things that they should be doing off the court. So I am a coach that I send them a game day schedule, just like college does. They have a game day schedule. So they know that the net needs to be set up by 3:15. We meditate after, which they all would want to. Then we go through dynamics. Then we do serve and pass. And then we have team dinner. And then we have to shag for the freshman and JV, and then we cheer, and and then they know. So then that takes something off my plate, so I can be focusing on other things.
Right.
But when they're not hitting that, I get frustrated really quickly. Is that wrong? Or is that okay?
Well, you're holding them accountable for actions, and if they're not meeting those actions, then they should be held accountable. But frustration on your part, is there a consequence on their part? It's causing you a negative result, right? Your frustration is a negative result to you. But what's the negative result for them not meeting your expectations? Is there one? Or are you being lenient with them?
I'm for sure being too lenient right now because we're playing almost every single night.
Right. So you don't want to overburden them physically.
Correct.
And break them down. So you're being conscious of it. Now, are they aware of your frustrations?
Yes. We had a team meeting on what day is it? Tuesday, a couple days ago.
Mm-hmm.
And we talked about the little things. And I will say I did see the little things becoming more effective on the court.
What about the preparations and the
it was
things
better.
that were frustrating?
It wasn't at my level, but then I'm thinking, are my expectations too high? I don't think so. It's just about being a good person.
Right.
And taking care of your team, of your family. But that's the thing, is that people need to understand is that regardless of your wins, regardless of your losses, regardless of who's on your team, regardless of who you play, we are all going to have great days. We're all going to have bad days. I mean, look at Colorado State right now.
Colorado,
not they. Sorry, my bad.
How dare you?
Colorado State lost to Colorado. So their Coach Prime is 3-0. Is he satisfied? Is he happy? Did he leave that field after coming back at double overtime? Did he leave that field being satisfied?
No way, because the little things. They weren't great at everything, or else they would have won by more points in regulation.
Mm-hmm.
They fought to come back, so you celebrate that, the fight, the resiliency, the gut check, but there's no way he was grounded in we met all of our goals for the game, because there's no way they did. They didn't perform at it as an efficient level as they had in the previous game. And the challenge is you're playing a better opponent coming up. Then what? So, no, I really enjoy what he's doing, though, because I like his perspective. He's super positive all the time. There's not the demeaning thing. There's not the talk down on your opponent. It's great. Everything is positive, but I'm really focused on my family, my guys, my group, my core. This is us, and see what happens. So, I mean, I'm a huge fan of that, and the success is going with it. Interesting thing will be, will anything change if success doesn't go with it? Mm-hmm. Stereotypical success of wins, losses. Will anything change? I'm going to believe no, but I'm also might not believe that the losses are going to happen, because the guy's a winner. Yeah. He's been a winner for a long time. He's a 49ers Super Bowl champion. Of course, he left and played for Dallas for a Super Bowl as well.
And you're still holding on to that.
I mean, hey, that's what fans do.
True. Here's my thing, is that it shouldn't matter who's across the net. It shouldn't matter who you're playing against. You should respect that opponent, which means that you are playing at your best ability all the time. And you should never back down, because that means you're not respecting me.
Well, that's the best teams in any genre or any arena. The best teams are competing against themselves to be their best, regardless of the opponent. So the champions, if you look back in history of just about every sport, the champion held themselves accountable against every opponent. They crushed weaker opponents. They didn't just mildly get by a weaker opponent. They fought with the closest opponent and maybe crushed the quote unquote. Look at Super Bowl champions in the history. A lot of them were blowouts. So they held themselves to such high regard and such high standards that they performed at the highest level, even in the toughest stage. That's the ultimate in team chemistry, to hold yourself accountable so that regardless of who's across the net from you, you are taking care of your business. You're taking care of the fundamentals, which allow you to do everything else that much more. So that's, to me, that's the goal of the team, is so that, yeah, I could put a sheet up across so I don't see my opponent. We're fortunate we're in a sport where you could be blinded and not even look across to see your opponent. Can you play the same level of execution? Can you play the same level of focus? That is the true challenge of a champion. I would see it as. Haven't seen it yet.
I'm
Working
thinking,
towards it.
I'm just going back to when we met. You know exactly where I'm going. You consider yourself a winner, right?
Yes.
So we're playing in a sixes league, a power league of men and women. And this is the first time I'm introduced to you, and everyone's saying, "Oh, Greg Wrights is this phenomenal player," and you are playing middle, which you're not a middle, but you were playing. But it shouldn't matter what position you're playing. And everyone's like, "You're so great." And I'm like, "Meh, he's okay."
Yeah.
Why was I thinking that, Greg?
Because I was playing recreational volleyball and I was playing to my level. Because if you don't play to your level when you're playing recreational volleyball, bad things can happen. McKenna.
So I like to win. I don't care where I'm at. It's the same thing with you. When we're freaking playing ping pong in the basement, you take no mercy.
Correct.
So why aren't you like that all the time? Which really pisses me off about you. Because then this man asked me to play in a forest tournament.
Yes.
And I'm like, I'll play with him, but we're probably going to lose because, whatever.
He's not so good.
He's not so good. Holy crap.
Watch your mouth. You're on.
I said crap. It's okay. Kids, earmuffs. Earmuffs. Old school. Sorry. We're going to movie quotes. He finally played. The first time he hit the ball, I lost it. And I said, why don't you play like, and then we started dating, and I said, why don't you play like that in our league?
Because it's not the same level of competition.
But it should always, because you should respect the opponent across the net.
That's if you're on equal grounds or should be on equal grounds. If we're both collegiate teams, it doesn't matter if you're the weakest team in the conference or the best team in the conference, you're going to compete at the level. If you're not on equal grounds, you shouldn't. I shouldn't compete at my highest level against a recreational player because I'm on
but we're playing in
grounds.
power leagues. We're playing in
a different background,
leagues.
a different.
So when I'm playing, I want to play against the best. I want people playing their best against me.
Correct. But are you ready for your opponent's best if they might be that much better than you?
I am.
That was my fear.
So let me finish the story. So I finally convinced Greg to play. I set him up. There is a female on the 10-foot line, down, ready to pass the ball. The ball hits the girl's wrist. The wrist hit the floor, and he breaks her wrist.
Ultimate fear realized. Why don't you play recreational volleyball? That is exactly why. It's not fun to play down.
Oops. Anyways, so, long story short.
I prefer to play highly competitive.
Correct. Which you do, which is amazing. And I think that's also a sign of, a passionate coach, is that we might not to be able to, we don't play in leagues anymore because we just don't have the time. Yeah. But you still, I still jump in practice once in a while when we get to practice. And you still are playing in, adult nationals and still playing with highly competitive volleyball at
an advanced age.
At your
Let's
age.
Just leave it like that.
But I think it's so cool when you go to adult nationals and see, 70-year-olds, 80-year-olds still playing, or the sitting team playing. I mean, it's absolutely incredible. But I think as coaches, you have to immerse yourself in the sport. And I am going to put it out there. I feel like, my philosophy of coaching is very different from a lot of other coaches. I'm not there for the record. I'm not there for the wins and losses. I am there to help empower these females to be resilient.
Well, and some of your best teams have been teams that may not have had the best record.
Correct.
Because they were the best group of people together and cared about one another that much. Yeah. Now, it's really spectacular when you get the best people that also perform the skills at the best level. That's a special team. But that doesn't always happen.
It doesn't always happen.
And it's a tough one. And you can't coach just for that because that's the perfect storm.
Right.
That's everyone's trying to get that. But that's a tough one. It's elusive.
Yeah.
And when they find it, yeah, great. But a lot of people will find that we won a championship. If I had to go out on like a hangout with my team, that might not be the team you hang out with. Versus some of the ones that maybe weren't as successful that you say, those people were better to be around. Now, was it because they were lighthearted and took things a little less seriously? Or was it because they just, there's some different personality things that you could look into in inventories to say, why is that?
Yeah.
I've had a bunch of different styles of teams over the 25-ish plus years of coaching, a lot of different groups of people, whether it's men's, women's, juniors, collegiate, that had success or not, but different types of people. And it's the people that really resonate more than anything.
And I think this really comes into even the work environment. There's your teams. When you are playing for a high school, you're playing for a college, you don't get to pick who your teammates are. It is the coaches who are picking the teammates. And so it is your choice of how you interact with them. You don't have to be best friends. You just have to be a good teammate. Because once you play on this team, I've said it so many times this year, it's not about you anymore. What you did in the off season and how you show up every day, that's you. But everything else, it's about us. It is now about us. And even if you don't like me, I'm still going to go 100%, whatever my 100% is. And I'm going to make sure that I'm going to interact with you in a way for us to be as effective as possible.
Well, and that's how I was raised in the same frame when I went to school of you don't have to be best friends by any stretch. You don't have to hang out with your teammates. You have to be teammates.
Yeah.
And you have to care for them as a teammate. And they have to be able to work with each other. It's like punching a clock and saying, okay, I'm a manager and I have a shift leader and I have this and that. I have to be able to work with those people. I have to be able to step onto a field, a court, whatever, and work with them and achieve our goal of whatever that happens to be. Volleyball, we need to score more points than our opponent by 2 and win the match, period. However we do that, we don't have to and that's the difference. We don't have to pet people on the back to say, oh, it's okay.
I'm like, where are you
We're going to achieve that. But, and that's the thing. Nowadays, it's more of a, it's okay. Let's move on. We were, suck it up. Let's move on. Do your job. Let's move on. Can I say that to you versus, and that's the personality differences, which makes just people in general more fascinating. Yeah. Because they're not all the same.
And I think looking over my coaching career, this past May, we put on a big event, Challenge Yourself, Coaching and Leadership Summit. And a good friend of mine, Becky Schmidt, who is the head volleyball coach at Hope College, who is a national champion coach as well. She talked about, what is the team goal? Is it the social aspect that we're going to focus on, or is it task goal oriented? And looking back at my coaching career, I was so focused on the social. I want everyone to like each other. I want everyone to hang out with each other. And now we need to make sure that we're on the same page. What is the task at hand? And I really appreciate her bringing that to the forefront for me to consciously be able to focus on that. I've been so concerned the past couple of years because I have this big group of same age people, now are all seniors, and I just want them to like each other. Now it's like, you're not going to like each other. I can't force people. What is the task at hand? As long as everyone's on board, it's going to happen. And we're seeing it. And the great thing is that I'm seeing them on the court cheering each other on more so for other people getting kills or other people getting digs or assists or blocks or whatever it is than themselves.
Yeah, celebrating the team more than
even though it might not be happening off the court because they are females. It's happening on the court.
It's not gender specific. Stop doing that.
Oh my gosh. I coach females right now, so that's what I'm for. But
yes. I mean, the team goal, I think the team chemistry thing, the learning that, knowing that, having that to the core helps more than anything. If the team truly believes in what we can accomplish, believes we can accomplish it instead of just saying, "Oh, we can get there. That's our goal."
Yeah.
But if they believe it to the core, it'll resonate and you'll see it. You'll feel the difference.
What is, over your coaching career, what is one or two suggestions that you can give to up and coming or coaches, doesn't matter where they're at in their coaching career? What are some things that can help with their personal development?
Ooh, consistency, I think, is number one. Consistency in your message, consistency in how you deliver your message, discipline, all that kind of stuff. Are you consistent with who you are personality wise? I'm a relatively relaxed, fun loving person that likes to joke around. I don't really change that a whole heck of a lot. I think I'm pretty consistent with my personality. So I think that's a huge one. And learning, like education, continued forever. I don't care if you've been coaching for a month or 30 years. If you're not trying to learn more and going out to seek knowledge from those that have it, shoot. And sharing, going along with learning is sharing. Like, you can learn a lot from teaching someone. Every time you're teaching, you're gathering more knowledge on how to. So I would say those are two of my keys. Do you have anything other than that?
Yeah. Or? So to add to that, so we're talking about consistency, we're talking about learning, we're talking about sharing. And I think being humble and knowing that you're not the best. And if you think you are, I mean, you're dead in the tracks.
Yeah.
And I think that's the biggest thing, is if that you feel that you're the almighty, that you are the best thing that ever happened, that you're going around gloating, oh, I got coach of the year this, and I'm posting about myself, you're in it for the wrong reasons. That we need to consistently be learning from one another.
I always argue I don't argue, but I would state to my players, you want someone else to say more about you than you say about yourself.
Yep.
Right? If you hold yourself in high regard, that's great, but you don't have to tell someone you hold yourself in high regard. Just show them you do. And they should see and they should comment on the successes that you're having, the type of person you are, because they can define it. If you're defining it for them, it's not you.
Yeah.
It's not real.
Like, I walk into every gym, regardless if it's our gym or someone else's gym, opponent's gym, I walk in there confident. Like, I'm walking in there like, I'm representing Springfield High School. I'm representing my program. I'm a confident coach. But I also am going to go talk to that coach and ask them questions. I believe in my team. I believe in myself. But I also believe that there is so much more that I can learn. There's so much more that I can do. And it's not being overconfident, because we know what happens when you're overconfident. We know what happens when you believe that you're at the top of the pyramid. You know, I used to talk about self-actualization and teach about an AP Psych. I never want to reach it, because I always want to feel and know I can do better and I can learn more and I can become better. So just consistency, learning, growth, and being humble.
Yeah. Humility goes a long way.
A long way. And this is coming from two very different coaches, but we're on very similar playing fields. And I think that's the biggest thing, is that's what coaching is all about. Is this, we might approach it very differently, but we have very similar goals, very similar strategies. And I think that's what's important, is to consistently talk about it and learn that, you know, I might be the let's go, and you might be the
this is what we need to do right now.
This is what we need to do right now. Oh my gosh, that's my husband.
It's good to have different people out there.
That is.
Celebrate our differences.
I don't even know how do we even end that? Oh, Lord. But, you know, this conversation has helped me. You know, we're going into a big match tonight, and I'm excited to go in a different mentality, ready to win, being confident to win, but knowing that we still need to focus on the little things. Yeah. And I'm going to hold them to those high expectations and be consistent. And you need to be consistent in sharing and liking and listening and being engaged with yourself and challenging yourself to consistently reflect upon your interaction within your coaching, whether, you know, it is specifically with student athletes or it's with your workforce or with just people in general. But continue to be you, continue to learn, continue to want to grow. And, it's all about turning those obstacles into opportunities, because when those opportunities happen, it's incredible.
Yeah. Challenges are going to arise, so face them.
Face them. Let's go. Have a great day.
Let's go!